Okay guys, so at this point I've started mounting all the hardware. I'm generally starting to put this case together because a lot of the rest of the cabinetry for this is going to depend on kind of where I site things inside the box. So all the inputs and outputs are here. The mains is in, the filter, the on-off switch. One thing I have to remember is this is a feed for two LEDs that are in the diffuser for the switch. They almost certainly had the current limiting resistors on the circuit board that they plugged into, and so I'll probably have to stick a couple of resistors in, one in each of these red lines here going off to these LEDs so I don't pop them. I've fitted the VU meter, and so what I've done is it's just pressed against the front plate by this wooden bracket, which serves two purposes. It holds the VU meters against the frame, and it acts as the third support for the top, because the top is supported on this bracket over here and this bracket over here, but there's nothing in the middle because I have no place to put the brackets. So that's what that does. Next up we'll be building the mount for this board and the daughter board that goes underneath it. Here's what it looks like with the VU meters fitted. So I'm going to leave the little scratch plastic on until the end, so it'll look a little tatty, but right at the end it should suddenly jump to life. So I'm preparing the main board in case I end up doing the whole thing as per Les's circuit. This is my second attempt at it. Here's my first attempt, and I got to about here and I started figuring I got errors, and it took me a long time to I checked and checked and checked and yet couldn't quite see where I was going wrong for a while, until I realized that in Les's drawing, you probably can't see it in the video, but it tells you there's 38 tracks running along here, 38 by 61. My board here is 39. So the things you never think of. So to stop myself screwing up, I taped off the end one here, and I think from then on we're good. First time I've had use for electrical tape in a long time. Okay, so I obviously have to chop that off here, that's lost, and I hope I have enough to do the individual channel cards if I go down that road. We'll see later. Some more parts have arrived, so I can be getting on with the main board. Pretty impressed with Mauser here on this one. I couldn't get what I wanted from my local supplier, so I ordered these from Mauser on a Wednesday evening, my time, and the UPS guy threw them over my wall on Friday afternoon. So well done, Mauser. Not too sure about UPS, but anyway, there we go. The other thing is I was looking for standoffs for mounting all the circuit boards in the case, and I was thinking, over the years I have built many PCs with, and every time you buy them a case, they come with all these sort of standoffs and screws and things, and so I knew in my box of junk I'd have some of these guys. It took half an hour to fish them all out of the big box, but hey, and they're all different thread sizes and stuff, but I have enough here to mount 3, if not even 4 circuit boards in the case. Another important acquisition, some solid oak side pieces that will ultimately be finishing off the cabinet for this particular project. It's not one piece of oak, it's so hard to get these days. So these are, if you like, pieces of oak that are all sort of cut and glued together. But when it's all stained up and done, I think it'll look fine. So I'm working on the main board here. And so this circuitry here is for selecting the out A or the out B, depending on which amplifier, in my case amp and headphone amp. The circuitry over here, which I'm about halfway through, will be for doing the automatic volume control. I'm taking a beta license. The circuit calls for two 18 ohm 5 watt resistors here. I've only got 20 ohm, so we're going to go with these and see how we go. But all the diode latching and the IR stuff I'm not going to bother with at this point, because I'm hoping I'm not going to need it. So yeah, onward and upward. So guys, in terms of combining Les's circuit with, if you like, this Velleman kit, I decided the first thing I need to do, because I couldn't remember, that these outputs trigger high or low, because Les's circuit triggers low. And so I think I'm in luck. It looks like this triggers low as well, because the scope is hooked up to the output that would drive the volume up or down. And so every time you press the volume key, it will go low, but only for the period of time you hold the key down. So if I hold the key down, it stays low all the time, and then when I let go, we go up again. So I think we're good. So that's a relief. That means it should simplify the thing out a little bit. So then what I've done is I just want to connect this board up to the relay, one channel of the relay board, and see if I can drive these relays. I think because of how this PIC is programmed, the circuitry downstream of it is probably less complex than we have here, but we'll check it out and see. So I need to connect the input and output pins, which I don't have. So I'm going to have to get some pins, those little Vero pins, so that you have places to hook your scope on and where you solder your cables. And so that will be the next step. And then when I get that done, now that I can then take the output of this, the volume control, over here to the input of the driver circuitry, and then hook up the volume control to it and just see that it turns, because it's going to be way easier to do that when it's out here on a piece of MDF than when it's in the cabinet and I'm trying to do it with everything in place. So yeah, that's it. So once I get all this wired up and stuff for a test, there will be more to come.